Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures, where humanity always rises. The night sky above Earth looked normal, but the world was not ready for what was coming. It started quietly, like a soft vibration under the ground. At first, people thought it was nothing, maybe a small earthquake or a passing truck. But within seconds, the vibration grew stronger, and every radio station on Earth began to crackle. Static filled the air. Music stopped. News channels cut off. Pilots in the sky shouted about losing communication. Drivers on highways pressed their brakes as their car radios screamed with a strange, broken sound. In homes, hospitals, shops, everywhere, everyone heard the same thing. A deep voice, not human, echoing like it came from the center of the planet. The voice spoke in a language no one knew, yet somehow everyone felt it inside their bones. Scientists around the world jumped from their chairs. Alarms rang inside space centers, and satellites began spinning out of control. In the United Nations emergency room, officials rushed in as the main screen showed a strange signal pattern. The pattern looked alive, like it was moving on its own. Experts shouted numbers, trying to decode the impossible sound. One scientist whispered, "This is not a message, this is scanning us." Countries forgot their fights. Enemies stopped pointing guns. Everyone stared at the same terrifying mystery. The signal kept getting stronger, louder, deeper, until people began covering their ears. Dogs barked wildly. Birds flew in circles. Even the ocean seemed to tremble. Then, all at once, the signal changed. Every satellite around Earth turned toward the moon, without human control. Cameras zoomed automatically at the lunar surface. And there it was, something huge, something metallic, something not from this world. A dark alien ship floated quietly behind the moon, perfectly hidden until now. No engines moved. No lights blinked. It simply waited, like it had been watching Earth for a long time. The signal stopped for exactly 3 seconds. Silence covered the entire planet. Then the voice returned, but this time, it spoke one clear sentence in perfect English. "We know what humans really are." Fear spread faster than any virus. People froze in front of their screens. Soldiers gripped their weapons. Scientists exchanged terrified looks. A single sentence had shaken all of humanity. What did these aliens know? And what did they mean by really are? The United States, China, Russia, and every major nation launched their emergency space defense protocols, but it was useless. The alien ship didn't react. It didn't attack. It only watched. The UN gathered the greatest scientists, generals, and world leaders into one room. The tension was heavy. No one dared to speak loudly. A woman from NASA explained that the unknown signal wasn't just sound. It was reading Earth's data, hacking systems, scanning human thoughts, and entering memories. Memories. The word alone sent a chill across the room. A general stood up, sweating. "Are you telling me they're inside our minds?" The NASA scientist nodded slowly. "Not yet, but they are trying." Suddenly, the signal returned, softer this time, like a whisper shared with all 8 billion people on Earth. People in villages, cities, deserts, mountains. Everyone heard it at the same time. "We have chosen one human." Every heart on the planet skipped a beat. Who? Why? For what reason? The voice continued, darker and colder. "One human carries the truth you all forgot." Panic broke out everywhere. Social media exploded with fear. Reporters screamed into microphones. Parents held their children tightly. The world was collapsing into terror. Inside the UN room, the large screen blinked with lines of alien code. A message translated itself slowly. Letters formed. Words appeared. And then a name. Eli Ward. No one recognized it at first. The name felt too normal, too simple. Who was Eli Ward? A soldier? A scientist? A spy? But a quick search shocked everyone. Eli Ward was a mechanic from a small town in the countryside. Not famous. Not important. Not connected to anything. Just a normal man who fixed cars and lived a quiet life. The leaders were confused. Why him? Why would an alien ship choose someone so ordinary? The NASA team tried to contact him, but Eli wasn't answering. His phone was dead. His house was empty, but his neighbors said something strange. They claimed that right when the signal hit Earth, they saw a bright light around Eli's house. The ground shook, windows cracked, and then Eli vanished. The alien ship moved for the first time. A single beam of blue light stretched from behind the moon toward Earth. People looked up as the sky lit with a glowing streak. Satellites recorded everything. The beam didn't destroy anything, it simply scanned. It passed over cities, mountains, and oceans, and then stopped when it reached a small countryside road. On that road stood Eli Ward, confused, scared, and surrounded by blue light. He didn't know what was happening. His hands shook. His heart raced. And then the alien voice spoke again, but this time only to him, inside his mind. "Come. The truth inside you must awaken." Eli tried to run, but his body froze. His feet lifted off the ground. The blue light wrapped around him, pulling him upward. He screamed, reaching for the dirt, but the beam carried him higher and higher. People recorded the sky as the mechanic rose into the clouds. In his final moment before vanishing, Eli saw the alien ship, dark, silent, waiting for him. Everyone on Earth felt a final whisper inside their minds. Humanity will now learn what it truly is. And then Eli Ward disappeared from the world forever. Eli Ward did not understand how he ended up inside the alien ship. One moment he was standing on a quiet country road, and the next he was floating in a long dark corridor made of metal that looked alive. The air felt heavy, almost wet, like he was breathing something more than oxygen. His heart pounded so loudly he could hear it echo. He tried to move his arms, but at first his body felt stuck in place. Slowly, the blue light faded, dropping him onto a cold, smooth floor. Eli breathed hard, trying to calm down, but his fear grew stronger with every second. The corridor had no lights, yet everything glowed with a dim, pale shine, as if the walls themselves understood he was there. Eli whispered to himself, "This can't be real. I'm dreaming. I have to be dreaming." But the strange metallic echoes around him answered his doubt. This was real. Suddenly, the same deep alien voice that had spoken to the entire Earth returned, but now it was inside Eli's head, not in his ears. "Human Eli Ward, you have been selected." Eli flinched, looking around, hoping to find someone, anything, that could explain what was happening. "Why me?" Eli shouted, his voice shaking. "I'm nobody. I'm just a mechanic. I fix cars." The voice responded calmly. "You carry a memory that belongs to your kind but has been forgotten. Only you can open the truth." Eli shook his head. "I don't understand. What memory? I don't remember anything." Before he could say more, the floor beneath him moved, sliding like a river. Eli tried to stand but stumbled as the floor carried him through the long corridor. He passed tall doorways that looked like giant eyes, watching him silently. The ship felt alive, breathing, listening, thinking. When the moving floor stopped, Eli found himself in a circular chamber. The walls were covered with floating symbols that glowed softly. In the center of the chamber stood 3 tall alien figures. They were shaped like humans, but stretched, thin like shadows pulled too far. Their eyes glowed bright white, and their skin looked like smooth stone. Eli stepped back, terrified. One alien stepped forward and spoke without opening its mouth. The voice directly entered Eli's mind. "We are the Varuan. We have studied your world for thousands of your years." Eli swallowed hard. His legs felt weak. "What do you want from me?" The Varuan leader stretched out a long arm toward him. "To understand why your people sleep. To understand why your kind hides the power you once had." Eli felt cold. "Power? Humans don't have any powers. We're normal." The alien's glowing eyes flickered. "You believe that because your memory was taken long ago." Eli felt a headache building. None of this made sense. Powers? Lost memories? It sounded insane. He opened his mouth to speak, but the aliens surrounded him in a circle. Light rose from the floor, forming a ring around his feet. Eli panicked. "No, don't touch me. What are you doing?" The Varuan leader responded, "Do not fear. We search for the memory hidden in your blood." The light grew brighter, lifting Eli a few inches off the ground. His arms hung helplessly at his sides. A warm sensation spread through his body, like something was crawling under his skin. Eli clenched his teeth, trying not to scream. Suddenly, images flashed in front of his eyes, images he had never seen in his life. Humans standing on mountains, with bright glowing symbols on their bodies. Humans lifting massive stones, with only their hands. Humans creating light from their palms like fire. Eli gasped. Sweat dripped down his face. No. I've never seen this. This isn't real. The aliens watched closely, their glowing eyes unblinking. These are your ancestors, the leader said. They were powerful. Too powerful. The galaxy feared them, and so your memory was sealed. Eli trembled. His breath shook. Then why me? Why did you choose me? Another Veroan spoke for the first time. Its voice was softer, almost sad. Because the seal on your blood cracked first. Your memory is waking. You will awaken the others. Eli felt his chest tighten. He wanted to run, to hide, to escape this nightmare, but there was nowhere to go. The chamber had no doors, only shifting walls that moved like water. The leader stepped closer. Eli could feel a strange heat coming from its body. Do not resist, human. The truth inside you must rise. Eli screamed as a burning feeling shot up his arm. He looked down and saw something terrifying. A faint glowing mark forming on his skin, like a symbol being drawn by invisible fire. What is happening to me? He cried. The Veroan observed him with fear in their eyes. The mark of the ancients, it has returned. Their voices echoed in his mind. Eli's heart stopped for a moment. He didn't know what the mark meant, but he could see the aliens were frightened of it. The glowing symbol on his arm pulsed like a heartbeat, each pulse sending a wave of heat through his body. Eli felt dizzy. His vision blurred. The chamber around him began to shake, lights flickering wildly. The Veroan stepped back. He is awakening too fast, one of them shouted mentally. The leader raised its long arms, and the chamber suddenly darkened. The light holding Eli dropped him to the floor. He gasped, breathing heavily, sweat pouring down his face. The leader stared at him. This was not expected. You are more dangerous than we believed. Eli pushed himself back, crawling away from them. I'm not dangerous. I don't want any of this. The Veroan exchanged tense glances. Your fear makes the mark stronger, the leader said. You must not feel. Eli's voice cracked. How am I supposed to not feel? I'm terrified. The leader took a step away from him, its glowing eyes dimming. We must take you to the memory core. Eli shook his head again and again. No, please. Let me go home. I just want my life back. I don't want powers. I don't want marks. I don't want any of this. The Veroan ignored his pleas. The floor moved again, carrying Eli deeper into the ship. The corridors grew darker, colder, and the strange whispers in the walls grew louder. Eli hugged himself, tears sliding down his face. Far above Earth, alone inside an alien ship, he realized something horrifying. He was the center of a galactic secret he did not understand. And no matter how much he begged, he knew the Veroan were never going to send him home. They needed him. They feared him. And worst of all, they believed he was the key to humanity's forgotten power. Eli Ward moved deeper into the alien ship, carried by the shifting floor like a helpless passenger on a dark river. The farther he went, the colder the air became, as if the ship itself did not want him there. Strange whispers echoed through the metal walls, soft and eerie, like voices trapped inside the metal, speaking a language older than Earth itself. Eli tried to cover his ears, but the whispers were inside his head. He felt watched, not by one creature, but by thousands of unseen eyes. His heart thumped painfully. He kept telling himself he was just a mechanic, not a hero, not anyone special. Why would aliens choose him? Why would they think he had some kind of ancient power? None of it made sense. The floor finally stopped moving, and Eli stumbled forward into a huge circular hall. It was silent, too silent. The silence was so heavy it felt alive. The walls were made of smooth, dark metal that showed reflections, but Eli noticed something terrifying. His reflection was delayed. When he moved his arm, the reflection moved a second later. It was like the metal was watching him and deciding when to respond. Eli whispered, "This place is wrong, everything here is wrong." Suddenly, the chamber lights brightened, revealing a massive structure in the center. It looked like a glowing sphere floating above the ground, made of shifting energy. Symbols darted across its surface, like living creatures. Eli stepped back, but the alien voice entered his mind again. "Do not fear. This is the memory core." Eli clenched his fists. "You keep saying that, but I don't know what it means." The leader of the Veroan appeared behind him without a sound, making Eli jump. The tall alien pointed toward the floating sphere. "The memory core holds the truth of your kind. It remembers what humans have forgotten." Eli stared at the sphere. "I don't want the truth. I just want to go home." The Veroan did not answer. The chamber lights flickered, and the floating sphere opened like a giant eye. A beam of white light shot out and wrapped around Eli's head. Eli screamed, trying to pull away, but his body froze in place. His eyes widened as visions exploded in his mind. He saw strange landscapes, ancient mountains, skies filled with bright glowing storms. He saw humans, not like modern humans, but stronger, fiercer, with glowing marks on their bodies. They moved like lightning, lifting huge stones and shaping energy with their bare hands. Eli gasped. His heart hammered. "No, this is not real. This can't be real." The Veroan leader spoke softly. "This is your history, the history your species lost." Eli shook his head. "No, humans were never like this. We don't do magic. We don't have powers." The Veroan stepped closer. "Magic? No, this is not magic. It is what your biology once allowed, a power that frightened the galaxy." Eli felt a cold tear slide down his cheek. Why was he seeing these things? Why him? The white beam showed him more. He saw a giant tower made of light. He saw ancient humans standing on top of it, shining like stars. Then he saw war, massive alien armies coming from the sky. And he saw humans fighting them, not with guns, but with their own bodies glowing brighter than the sun. The vision shook Eli to his core. His breath stopped. He saw humans winning. He saw aliens retreating. He saw galaxies burning. Then, suddenly, everything went dark. The memory core stopped its beam. Eli fell to his knees, shaking violently, holding his head as pain stabbed through it. The Veroan leader looked down at him. "Do you understand now, human? Your kind once held power beyond reason, but that power was locked away." Eli looked up with fear in his eyes. "Why? Why was it locked? Who did it?" The Veroan leader's glowing eyes dimmed. "Your own kind did it. They sealed the power after the Great War. They chose weakness over destruction." Eli felt sick. Humans? Sealed their own power? It sounded impossible. No, no human would do that. The Veroan responded. "You sealed it because you feared yourselves." Eli tried to stand, but his legs trembled. He leaned against the cold metal wall, still feeling the whispers crawling around him. "Even if this is true," Eli whispered, "what does it have to do with me?" The Veroan looked at the glowing symbol on Eli's arm, which flickered softly like a weak heartbeat. "Because the seal is breaking. And you are the first to show signs." Eli stared at the mark in horror. "I don't want it. Take it away." The Veroans shook their long heads slowly. "We cannot. No one can." The chamber suddenly shook violently, lights flickering. Alarms echoed through the ship, like metal screaming. The ground rumbled, and cracks of bright energy flashed through the air. Eli stumbled. "What's happening?" The Veroan looked around sharply. "Your memories are awakening too fast. The ship cannot handle it." Eli felt heat burning under his skin. The mark on his arm glowed brighter. His chest tightened. He gasped for air. "Make it stop. Please." But the Veroan were backing away, their faces filled with fear. "Your awakening is unstable. We must move you before the ship is damaged." The floor shifted beneath Eli, pulling him away from the memory core. The walls changed shape, closing behind him like a prison. Eli screamed, "Where are you taking me?" The Veroan leader's voice echoed faintly. "To the lower decks. To the chambers of the forgotten." Eli's blood ran cold at those words. The lower decks? forgotten. The floor moved faster, carrying him into deeper darkness. The whispers grew louder, and Eli realized with dread that he was traveling into a place even the aliens feared, a place where the truth about humanity was hidden, waiting to change everything. Eli Ward moved through the lower decks of the alien ship, carried by the shifting floor like a trapped animal being dragged into darkness. The air grew colder and thinner the deeper he went, and the whispers in the walls changed. They were not random anymore. They began to form words, broken words in a language Eli did not know, yet somehow understood in his bones. The metal around him pulsed softly, like a giant heartbeat. Eli hugged his arms around his shaking body, trying to stay calm, but every breath felt heavier. He wondered if he would ever see Earth again. He wondered if anyone on Earth even knew what he was facing. When the moving floor finally stopped, Eli found himself inside a long, narrow room with dark glass panels from floor to ceiling. The lights flickered weakly, showing twisted shadows on the walls. The room felt wrong, like it was never meant for living beings. Eli took one small step forward, and the moment his foot touched the ground, the glass panels lit up. His breath caught in his throat. Inside each panel were glowing shapes, moving, shifting, swirling like liquid memories trapped inside glass. The whispers grew louder, overlapping each other, forming desperate voices calling out across time. Eli felt dizzy. His head throbbed. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot up his arm, right where the glowing mark was. He grabbed his arm, dropping to his knees. The mark shined bright gold for a moment, and the entire room reacted. The glass panels changed, clearing themselves as if waking up. And then Eli saw something that froze his blood. The panels were showing him visions, but they were not from his life. He saw humans wearing bright marks on their skin, fighting in giant empty fields under burning red skies. He saw humans standing tall on ruined mountains, their bodies glowing with raw energy like living stars. He saw aliens, hundreds of different species, running in fear from the humans who fought like ancient gods. Eli's eyes widened. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. A single question spun around in his mind. How is this possible? Then the room forced a new vision. The glass panels showed a massive war, greater than any on Earth. Entire planets burning, armies stretching across galaxies, human warriors screaming as they unleashed bright beams of energy from their hands. Eli trembled violently. "No, stop," he begged, but the visions kept going. The next image was worse. He saw humans losing control of their power. He saw their bodies burning with too much energy, exploding in bright flashes like dying stars. He saw humans crying in fear of their own strength. And he saw something else, something that made Eli's heart nearly stop. He saw a tower of brilliant white light, and inside that tower were the same marks he now carried on his arm. A group of ancient humans placed their glowing hands on the tower, and the entire galaxy shook. Then darkness swallowed everything. The voices whispered one final phrase in Eli's mind. "We sealed ourselves." Eli covered his ears even though the sound was inside him. Tears burned his eyes. Why would we do that? Why would humans give up power like that? The answer did not come from the whispers. It came from behind him. The Varuan leader stepped into the room silently, its white eyes shining in the dark. "Because your kind feared what you had become," the alien said. Eli stared at him, shaking. "I don't believe it. Humans are just normal. We aren't gods." The Varuan walked closer, its steps making no sound. "Normal? No. You are dormant, frozen, sleeping. And you, Eli Ward, are waking first." Eli looked down at the glowing mark on his arm. It pulsed faster now, reacting to his fear and confusion. Each pulse made strange symbols appear faintly on his skin before disappearing. Eli whispered, almost afraid to hear his own voice. "So this is why you took me? Because of this mark?" The Varuan bowed its head. "The mark is not a decoration. It is a key. Only those with the mark can open the forbidden memory." Eli backed away. The word forbidden echoed painfully in his ears. "I don't want to open anything. I don't want power. I don't want your memories." The Varuan's voice grew cold. "It is not about what you want. It is about what you are." The alien lifted its long fingers toward the glass panels. The images inside them changed again. Eli watched, trembling, as the panels showed something terrifying. A human who looked like him. Same eyes, same hair, same build. But this human was glowing with full power, holding an entire alien army back with one hand. Eli gasped. That can't be me. That's not possible. The Varroan responded. It is not you, but it is what you will become if your awakening completes. Eli reached out and touched the glass. His fingers shook hard. As soon as he touched the surface, the image reacted. The glowing warrior turned its head slowly and looked directly at Eli. Eli stumbled back, dropping to the floor, his heart almost stopping. The Varroan stepped closer. This is the power your kind buried. This is what the galaxy fears. Eli's breathing grew shallow. Are you going to use me as a weapon? The Varroan hesitated. We do not want your power. We want to stop it. Eli froze. Stop it? How? The leader's eyes darkened. By stopping you. Eli's blood turned cold. Before he could move, the room shook violently, alarms screaming through the ship. The Varroan looked up sharply. Your awakening has begun. We cannot control it anymore. Eli stared at his glowing arm, terrified. The forbidden memory had opened, and now nothing could stop what was coming. Eli Ward stumbled backward as the alarm screamed through the ship, their sharp metallic sound cutting through the thick air like knives. The glowing mark on his arm burned hotter with every heartbeat, spreading warmth through his veins as if fire was crawling under his skin. He clutched his arm, grinding his teeth, but the heat only grew stronger. The Varroan leader backed away from him, fear clear in its glowing white eyes. Eli saw something he never expected to see. An advanced alien species terrified of him, a simple mechanic from Earth. The Varroan whispered urgently. The mark of the ancients has awakened too early. This is dangerous. Eli shouted through the pain. Then help me. Make it stop. But the Varroan only stepped farther away. We cannot. The mark reacts to emotion. Fear makes it stronger. Panic accelerates awakening. Your heart is your curse. Eli forced himself to breathe, but it was impossible. The burning mark pulsed again, sending bright lines of golden light crawling up his arm toward his shoulder. Eli cried out, falling forward onto one knee. The ground beneath him trembled. The walls flashed with bright symbols reacting to his energy, whispering louder, as if the entire ship were talking to him. The Varroan leader commanded sharply, "Move him, now!" And the floor shifted, dragging Eli out of the forbidden memory chamber. Eli grabbed at the smooth metal, trying to stop the movement, but the floor was alive, stronger than anything he could resist. His body dragged through twisting hallways as the whispered voices grew louder, clearer, almost human. Eli tried to focus on his breathing, but flashes from the visions showed up in his head again. Humans glowing, humans fighting, humans breaking galaxies with raw power. He squeezed his eyes shut, shaking. No, that's not me. I can't. I'm not like them. But the mark disagreed. It pulsed again, brighter than before, and Eli felt a strange new sensation, something waking inside his chest, something ancient, something hungry. The floor finally stopped inside a shadowy chamber deeper in the ship. This place smelled old, forgotten, untouched for centuries. Thick tubes covered the walls, pulsing faintly with dim light. Eli pushed himself to his feet, breathing heavily, sweat dripping down his face. Where am I?" he whispered. A Varroan stood in the far corner, watching him carefully. It looked smaller than the others, almost frightened to be so close to him. "This is the Chamber of Echoes," it said softly, "where memories sleep." Eli stepped back, shaking. "I don't want memories. I don't want any of this." The smaller Varroan pointed toward a long row of strange pods built into the wall. "Look." Eli hesitated but slowly approached the pods. When he wiped the dust from one of the glass covers, his heart nearly stopped. There was a human inside, a frozen human, a woman, perfectly still, with the same glowing mark on her arm. Eli stumbled backward in shock. "Wow, what is this? Who is she?" The Varroan answered, "The first awakened ones." Eli moved to the next pod. Another human, and another. Some young, some old, some dressed in ancient clothing he didn't recognize. all with the same glowing mark. Eli's voice cracked. How? How do you have humans here? How long have they been here? The Varroan lowered its head. Long before your world built its first cities. We took them when their marks awakened. We studied them. We feared them. Eli shook his head. You kidnapped them. You froze them. Why? The Varroan responded. To protect the galaxy. To prevent the return of the ancient power. Eli turned pale. He pressed his hand against one of the pods. The frozen human inside did not move, but Eli felt a strange connection, a soft pressure inside his mind, like a voice trying to speak. Eli jerked his hand away. The mark on his arm reacted instantly, glowing brighter. The smaller Varroan stepped forward quickly, panic in its voice. Do not touch them. The mark recognizes the mark. You could wake them. Eli stared at his glowing arm. What happens if they wake up? The Varroan answered with trembling fear. Then the ancient power returns, and nothing in the galaxy can stop it. Suddenly, the chamber shook violently. Lights flickered. An alarm blared loud enough to make Eli cover his ears. The Varroan leader rushed into the room, anger clear in its glowing face. He is destabilizing the ship. Move him now. But before the floor could drag Eli away, something unexpected happened. One of the frozen pods flickered. The glass cracked. The lights around it turned bright gold. Eli stared with wide eyes. Is she waking up? The Varroan panicked. No. This must not happen. The chamber cannot contain two awakened marks. Eli took a step back, but the mark on his arm pulsed in rhythm with the sleeping woman's mark. Their lights synced. The glass of the pod shattered into dust. Eli shielded his face. When he looked again, the woman inside was breathing, slow, weak breaths, but real breaths. Her eyes fluttered open, glowing faintly with golden light. She whispered a single word. Eli. Eli froze. He had never seen her before. How do you know my name? She looked at him with tired, ancient eyes. Because you are the next. The mark has chosen you. The Varroan shouted. Stop her. Do not let her speak. But they were too afraid to go near her. The woman reached out a trembling hand toward Eli. You must listen. The truth, the real truth, is hidden deeper. Her voice faded as she collapsed again, though still alive. Eli stepped forward to help her, shaking badly. But before he could touch her, the entire chamber lit up with a blinding flash. The Varroan leader screamed. Get him out. Now. The floor jolted, dragging Eli away as he shouted. Wait. Tell me what the truth is. Tell me what the mark is. But the chamber door slammed shut, leaving the woman inside as her pod rebuilt around her. Eli was dragged down another long hallway, the mark blazing like fire, and for the first time, he felt something inside him answer that fire. Something waking, something powerful, something ancient. The mark of humanity was returning, and Eli knew there was no turning back now. The next morning began with a strange silence, a silence that felt heavy and wrong, the kind that made the human crew look at each other with worry. Captain Rhea walked across the command room with fast steps, her eyes fixed on the large screen, where the unknown alien signal now flashed brighter than ever. She knew something was coming, and she could feel it deep in her chest. Commander Holt stood beside her, his arms crossed, trying to stay calm but failing. He said softly, This is not normal. They are watching us now. But Rhea already knew that. Every instinct in her body told her the same thing. They were being pulled into a trap. Meanwhile, far away from the main deck, Jackson moved through the ship's engineering hall, carrying a small scanner that beeped non-stop. He checked every cable, every pipe, every corner, but something strange kept happening. Every time he scanned the air vents, the signal strength shot up like something inside the ship was calling the aliens directly. Jackson stopped, confused. Why here? Why these vents? He whispered. Before he could think more, the ship suddenly trembled, lights flickered, and a loud alarm echoed through every hall. The crew rushed to their stations, fear rising with every second. On the main deck, Rhea shouted, Report. What happened? A young technician looked terrified as he replied, Captain, the signal changed. It is not a message anymore. It is a lock-on. Everyone froze. A lock-on meant only one thing. The aliens now had the ship's exact location and were preparing something big. Holt leaned closer to Rhea and whispered, "This is the trap. They lured us in." Rhea nodded slowly, feeling a cold anger growing inside her. "Then we break it," she said. Suddenly, the entire ship shook again, this time stronger. Everyone grabbed onto something as the floor shifted under their feet. Outside the windows, a strange dark cloud formed, swirling like a giant storm in space. The cloud pulsed with lights, red and blue flashes that looked alive. Jackson ran into the deck, just in time to see it. "Captain, that's not a cloud. It's a containment net. They're trapping us." Rhea stared at it with narrow eyes. The alien race they had been trying to communicate with was far more advanced than she hoped. The containment net expanded fast, forming a cage of energy around the human ship. The crew panicked, but Rhea raised her hand. "Everyone stay focused. Humans don't panic, humans fight." Those words calmed them a little, but the danger was still growing. The energy cage started squeezing, making the ship groan from the pressure. Sparks flew from the ceiling, and controls overloaded. Holt shouted, "Shields dropping to 30%. Jackson ran back to engineering through the shaking halls, knowing the ship could not hold much longer. He reached the reactor room and opened the main console, sweat dripping from his forehead. He typed fast, trying to reroute power to the shields, but something blocked his commands. The screen flashed with strange alien symbols he had never seen before. Jackson froze. "They're inside our system. They hacked us." Back on the deck, the alien net tightened again. Rhea gripped the controls, feeling the ship fight back like a wounded animal. "Holt, can we break through?" Holt checked the readings and shook his head. "Not unless we go at full power. But if the shields fail while we do that, the ship will tear apart." Everyone went silent. It was a deadly gamble. Rhea looked around at her crew, people who trusted her, people who followed her into the unknown. She took a deep breath and said, "Prepare for full power. If we sit here, we die. If we move, we have a chance." The crew obeyed instantly. Jackson's voice came through the comms, but it was shaky. "Captain, the aliens are controlling the reactor. They are forcing an overload." Rhea's eyes widened. "How long?" Jackson swallowed hard. "Maybe 4 minutes, maybe less. For minutes until the ship exploded. For minutes until everyone died." Rhea felt the weight of every second pressing on her. "Jackson, listen carefully. Can you disconnect the reactor from the rest of the system?" Jackson looked at the humming, glowing machine that could blow up any moment. He knew disconnecting it meant crawling inside a dangerous narrow space, filled with hot pipes and unstable wires. But he didn't hesitate. "I'll do it." He grabbed his tools and climbed into the small crawl space, his hands shaking from the heat. Sparks burned his gloves as he pulled wires and cut connections. Every second felt longer than the last. Meanwhile, on the deck, Holt watched the energy cage shrink around them like a tightening fist. "Captain, we need to move now." Rhea gritted her teeth and shouted, "All engines full power." The ship roared as the engines pushed forward, smashing against the energy barrier. The cage cracked but didn't break. The pressure inside the ship grew, screens shattered, and lights burst overhead. Rhea held on, refusing to stop. "Push harder," she screamed. Down in the crawl space, Jackson finally reached the main connection point. He took a deep breath and pulled the final cable with all his strength. A flash of bright blue light exploded around him. The ship suddenly lurched forward with unbelievable force. The energy cage shattered like glass. Holt yelled, "We're free. We broke it." But Rhea did not relax. She knew it wasn't over. No one sets a trap without a reason. No one uses a cage unless they want something. She stared at the dark space ahead, knowing the aliens were still out there, waiting. And whatever they wanted, they were not done yet. Eli Ward could feel the pulse of the alien ship deep in his bones as the moving floor carried him further into the dark lower decks. The air smelled metallic and cold, and strange echoes whispered in the walls like voices from another time. He had no idea where the Varroan were taking him, only that the burning mark on his arm was guiding their attention like a beacon. Each step made his stomach twist with fear and anticipation. Suddenly, the floor stopped in front of a massive steel door unlike any other he had seen. It was covered in glowing symbols that seemed to shift and twist as he stared at them. Eli took a deep breath and tried to step back, but the Veroan leader stepped forward and spoke inside his mind. Beyond this door is the hidden chamber. The memory you seek lies there. Only the chosen may enter. Eli swallowed hard, his chest tightening. I don't want to enter. I don't want memories. I just want to go home. The Veroan ignored his words. You have no choice. It is already inside you. Your awakening demands it. The steel door slowly slid open with a low grinding sound, revealing a narrow ramp that led down into darkness. Eli hesitated, staring into the black abyss, feeling as if the darkness itself was alive and waiting for him. The whispers on the walls grew louder, almost screaming now, and Eli felt a cold sweat trickle down his spine. He stepped forward, his legs shaking violently. Every step made the mark on his arm pulse hotter, sending waves of fire through his body. As he descended, the ramp ended in a vast circular chamber. The walls were covered in shimmering alien patterns that glowed faintly, moving like they were breathing. In the center of the room hovered a large floating crystal, radiating golden light. Eli gasped. The crystal seemed to pull at his very soul. He could see visions swirling inside it, images of humans from centuries long gone, glowing with power, shaping worlds with their bare hands, and fighting enemies far larger and stronger than anything he could imagine. Eli's head spun as the visions washed over him. His knees buckled, and he fell forward. The Veroan leader spoke again, calm but firm. This is the core memory of your species. What you see is your forgotten past. You are the first to witness it fully since the seal was placed. Eli groaned, gripping his head. I don't want this. I'm not ready. I can't handle it. The crystal pulsed brighter, and a warm golden light spread across the room, wrapping around Eli like living fingers. Suddenly, he felt a voice in his mind. Not the alien voice, but another voice, soft and familiar. Eli, you must awaken. The power is yours. Eli froze, looking around. No one was there. The voice continued, deeper now, almost commanding. You are the key. Without you, the past will remain lost forever. The mark on his arm blazed hotter than ever, and Eli felt a strange surge of energy shoot through his body. He gasped, dropping to his knees, unable to control it. Sparks of golden light danced along his veins, and his vision blurred as he saw flashes of human history he had never known. Towering figures lifting massive structures, humans moving faster than the eye could follow, glowing hands shaping the very elements. Eli could feel their strength pulsing inside him, like a storm trapped under his skin. Stop! I can't. I'm just a man, he screamed. But the crystal's power did not care for his protest. It was alive, demanding, and his body obeyed it whether he wanted to or not. Suddenly, the Veroan stepped back, their white eyes wide with fear. He is stronger than we predicted, the leader whispered inside his mind. The chosen is awakening too fast. The ship cannot contain him. Eli's hands shook as golden light began to form around him. Symbols appeared on the floor, glowing and shifting, and the air hummed with energy. He felt weightless, as if the chamber itself was bending to him. The whispers from the walls grew louder, now forming words he could almost understand. Eli awakened, remember power truth. Every sound seemed to vibrate inside his chest. Eli fell forward, touching the floor, and the symbols reacted to his touch. The golden light spread faster, wrapping around the crystal. The visions became clearer. Eli could see the ancestors of humans fighting the same aliens that now haunted his ship, wielding powers that rivaled the stars. He saw victory, defeat, betrayal, courage, and fear all at once. The room shook violently as if the chamber itself was alive. The Veroan leader floated back, almost unable to breathe, muttering, "The ancient power, it cannot be stopped, it is returning." Eli opened his eyes wide, and for the first time, he felt more than fear. He felt purpose. The mark on his arm burned brighter, and a voice in his mind shouted louder than any alarm. "You are the first, you are the key awakened human." Eli rose to his feet, trembling but determined. He stretched his arms toward the floating crystal. The golden light surged around him, covering his entire body. His vision exploded with power and memory, and he felt the energy of countless humans who had once lived, loved, and fought flooding into him. He cried out, not from pain, but from the overwhelming sense of connection. The Varroan fell back, shielding their eyes, their voices full of terror. Impossible, he cannot contain it, the chosen. Eli's body shone with golden light, symbols crawling across his skin like fire. He could feel the past, the present, and the possibility of the future all at once. The crystal hovered above him, its energy bending toward him, and the room trembled like the entire ship was bowing before him. Eli finally understood. He was not just a mechanic. He was the bridge between the humans of the past and the humans of the present. The power locked away for centuries was awakening inside him, and nothing, not aliens, not fear, not even the universe itself, could stop it. The hidden chamber echoed with whispers, now clear and calm. The ancients have returned through you. Eli, you are the spark. And in that moment, Eli felt something inside him awaken fully. The fire of humanity's forgotten power burning hotter than the stars outside the alien ship. Eli Ward could feel the golden fire of the ancients roaring inside him as he stood in the hidden chamber, his glowing mark pulsing like a heartbeat against his skin. The light from the crystal above wrapped around him, and the entire chamber trembled under the energy he now carried. The Varroan fell back in fear, their white eyes wide, unable to move, as if the very air resisted them. Eli's mind was full of visions, memories, and emotions he had never known, yet somehow they were his. He could see the humans of the past, feel their courage, their fear, their strength, all coursing into his veins. His body felt heavy with power and yet free, like he was both the storm and the calm that followed. He raised his hands, and the symbols on the floor reacted, glowing brighter, twisting and forming shapes that seemed alive. A sudden rush of sound and color exploded in his vision, showing him distant galaxies, worlds long forgotten, and humans who once ruled the stars. Eli fell to his knees, overwhelmed, but he refused to stop. He could feel the mark burning hotter, demanding action. The Varroan leader shouted in his mind, panic clear in every word. Stop him. This is too much. The power will destroy everything. Eli ignored them. He clenched his fists, and a wave of energy shot from his hands, striking the walls and causing the chamber to shake violently. Lights flashed, sparks flew, and the floors vibrated like the heartbeat of the universe itself. He felt alive in a way he never had, a connection to all humanity that stretched across time. Suddenly, one of the glass pods in the chamber cracked, and the frozen humans inside began to stir. Their marks flickered weakly, reacting to Eli's energy. Their eyes opened, glowing faintly with golden light. Eli realized with shock that he was awakening them. The Varroan screamed, trying to stop it, but Eli could feel the human's power linking to his own, forming a chain of energy across the chamber. I can't control it. Eli shouted, but even as he spoke, he felt calm, almost like a guiding force inside him had taken over. He could hear the whispers of the ancients urging him to embrace the power. He focused on the humans in the pods, willing them to awaken fully. One by one, the pods shattered, and humans stood up, confused, frightened, but alive, their marks pulsing in harmony with Eli's. Their first words were soft, questioning, but Eli could feel the power in their voices, uniting with his own. The Varroan tried to attack, but their energy weapons failed against the combined force of awakened humans. Eli lifted his hands again, and the chamber's walls glowed with bright golden light, reflecting the energy of countless humans now alive. The whispers turned into a chorus, guiding Eli, showing him how to control the force surging through him. He realized the power was not just destruction, it was creation, shaping energy, shaping reality itself. With a deep breath, Eli focused, and the chamber responded. The light became calm yet powerful, symbols on his body spreading to the humans around him. Together, they felt their ancestors' strength and courage flowing back into them. Eli could see through space now, glimpses of distant alien fleets preparing to attack, unaware of the force awakening inside the human ship. He understood that they would not succeed. The energy of humanity, long forgotten, was back, stronger than any weapon the galaxy could imagine. He raised his hands higher, and the golden energy shot outward, forming a barrier around the ship. The alien containment nets that had trapped them earlier shattered instantly, as if they were nothing more than fragile glass. The Varoan leader fell back, stunned, shouting in disbelief. Impossible! How can humans hold such power? Eli felt a surge of pride, but he knew this was only the beginning. He looked at the awakened humans surrounding him, their marks now glowing fully, their bodies alive with the same ancient force. He could see their fear, their courage, their determination to survive, and he understood that together they could face anything. The chamber quaked violently as Eli focused on the ship itself. Energy rippled through the floors and walls, reinforcing it, making it stronger than ever. He could feel the connection between the ship, the humans, and the universe stretching outward. The Varoan tried to flee, but Eli blocked their path with a wall of energy, not to harm them yet, but to show them the power humans could wield. Their fear was clear, and Eli understood that the galaxy had underestimated humanity for far too long. He took a deep breath, letting the ancients' wisdom guide him. He could now manipulate the energy, shape it, control it without losing himself. The awakened humans followed his lead, forming a wave of power that surged through the chamber like a living force. Eli whispered softly, "We are human. We are strong. We are not forgotten." The energy around them pulsed in response, brighter than the sun, alive, unstoppable. Outside, distant alien ships detected the surge of power and began to retreat in panic. Eli smiled, knowing the humans were no longer defenseless. The mark on his arm dimmed slightly as he stabilized the energy, but the power was still there, ready to rise again if needed. The Varoan leader fell to its knees, acknowledging the strength of the humans it had feared for centuries. Eli looked at the awakened humans, and for the first time, he felt hope. Hope not just for himself, but for all of humanity. The power of the ancients was back, and through him, humans would reclaim their place in the galaxy. He knew that the war was far from over, but for now, humanity had risen again, and nothing, not fear, not aliens, not time, could take that away. Eli Ward floated in the center of the hidden chamber, his glowing mark still burning with power, and the awakened humans surrounding him mirrored his energy, their marks shining brightly. The entire chamber hummed with life, the walls pulsing with light that seemed to respond to every heartbeat, every breath, every thought. Eli could feel the connection between himself and every human who had been awakened, their emotions, their courage, their fears, all intertwining with his own. He realized something he had not understood before. This power was not just about strength or combat. It was about humanity itself, its spirit, its will to survive and overcome impossible odds. Outside the chamber, the alien ships that had once threatened them were now hesitating. The energy emanating from Eli and the humans created a wave that disrupted their instruments, their weapons, and even their communication. The Varoan leader stepped forward, trembling, trying to reason with him. "You cannot do this. The galaxy will not allow your kind to rise again." Eli looked at the alien and spoke calmly, though his words carried the weight of centuries of lost power. "You feared us, but you never understood us. Humans are not weak. Humans adapt. Humans fight. Humans survive. And now we remember who we are." The awakened humans shifted, forming a semicircle around Eli, their marks pulsing in sync with his. A golden light spread from him outward, filling the chamber, flooding through the corridors of the ship, and reaching every part of their vessel. The Varoan attempted to flee, but every passage seemed to shimmer with energy, blocking their escape. Eli had no desire to harm them, but he understood that for the first time in history, humans had the upper hand. He raised his hands, feeling the surge of power, connecting him to the memories of the ancients. He could see visions of human victories across time, humans standing against impossible odds, and humans who had once tamed stars. Every vision strengthened him, and he felt the same strength flowing into the awakened humans around him. One of the humans, a woman with piercing eyes, stepped forward, her voice trembling but strong. "Eli, what do we do now? How do we survive with this power? Eli looked at her, realizing that leadership was no longer a choice. It was demanded. We survive, he said, by remembering who we are, by trusting ourselves, by showing the galaxy that humans are not weak, not fragile, not easily controlled. We are humanity. And now we return. The room shook again as the energy swelled. The marks on every human flared brighter, their power synchronizing into a force that seemed unstoppable. Eli felt it, every pulse a reminder of the ancient's legacy and the responsibilities he now carried. Outside the ship, distant alien fleets began to retreat in terror. The humans' awakening was not just an internal power. It radiated, affecting everything around them. Ships, technology, even the fabric of space seemed to respond to the humans' energy. The Varroan tried to resist, shouting commands to their fleets, but their fear was contagious. The humans had awakened not just physically, but spiritually, and that force could not be contained. Eli's mind raced as he realized something else. This power came with responsibility. He could rebuild, protect, and lead, but he could also destroy if he lost control. He had to teach the awakened humans to control it, to use it wisely. He focused on the chamber, letting the energy flow calmly now, controlled, precise. He extended his thoughts to the others, guiding them to focus on the purpose of the awakening: survival, freedom, and the restoration of humanity's place in the galaxy. Slowly, the chamber's tremors calmed. The light dimmed slightly, leaving a golden glow that illuminated Eli and the humans around him. The Varroan leader fell to its knees, its voice shaking. Impossible, humans have returned. Eli looked down at the alien, no hatred in his eyes, only understanding. We have returned, yes, but we do not seek vengeance. We seek to reclaim what was taken from us and to ensure it is never lost again. The awakened humans cheered softly, their voices filled with relief and newfound courage. They were no longer frightened individuals. They were a force, a living testament to the strength of humanity. Eli felt a wave of pride and responsibility wash over him. The ancient's power flowed through him. Yes, but it was his will, his humanity, that controlled it. For the first time, he understood the true meaning of the mark. It was not just a sign of power, but a reminder of duty, courage, and the enduring spirit of humans. He turned to the humans around him, seeing determination in their eyes, and he knew they would face the galaxy together. They had awakened, they had remembered, and they had returned. And with that return, humanity's story, lost for centuries, had finally begun again. Beyond the hidden chamber, the galaxy would feel it. Alien races would know it. Humans were no longer hidden, no longer weak, and no longer forgotten. Eli's mark pulsed one final time in harmony with the awakened humans, a golden symbol of hope, power, and rebirth. The whispers in the chamber became soft, almost like a song, carrying a single clear message. The ancients live again through you, through humanity. Eli stood tall, taking a deep breath. He was no longer just a mechanic, no longer just one man. He was a spark, a beacon, a bridge between the past and the future. Humanity had returned, and nothing would ever be the same again. Eli Ward stood at the center of the hidden chamber, the golden light of the ancients swirling around him like a living storm, his glowing mark pulsating faster than ever before. The awakened humans around him mirrored his energy, their marks blazing in harmony, forming a circle of pure power. The air hummed, thick with energy, vibrating with every heartbeat and every breath. Outside the chamber, the alien fleets had stopped, sensing the force radiating from the ship, unsure whether to attack or flee. Eli could feel their fear, their hesitation, their disbelief, and a sense of calm washed over him. For the first time, he understood the true extent of humanity's power. The Varroan leader, trembling, stepped closer, but Eli held up his hand, stopping it without speaking. The alien's white eyes widened in fear, and it realized that humans were no longer the weak species it had underestimated for centuries. Eli focused, closing his eyes, and let the memories of the ancients flood his mind completely. He saw humans building civilizations across galaxies, shaping stars, wielding unimaginable power, and protecting the weak. He felt the courage, the wisdom, and the determination of his ancestors coursing through him. He opened his eyes, glowing bright gold, and spoke, his voice resonating in the chamber and across the ship. Humans are not weak. Humans are not forgotten. We are the spark of life, the strength of the universe, and the hope of our future. We remember now, and we will not be ignored. The awakened humans echoed his words, their voices powerful and strong, a chorus of determination that filled the chamber. One by one, their energy intensified, and the room became almost unbearable with its brilliance. The Varuan tried to react, but the power was too great. Their weapons failed, their attempts to move were blocked by invisible forces, and fear consumed them. Eli extended his hands outward, and a wave of golden energy shot from him, traveling through every corridor of the ship, reinforcing the structure, protecting the humans, and creating an unbreakable barrier around them. He could feel the connection between himself, the humans, and the galaxy itself, the force flowing through space and time, connecting the past, present, and future of humanity. The chamber trembled as Eli's energy reached a peak, the symbols on the walls glowing brighter than the sun, the ceiling vibrating, and the floors shifting beneath their feet. The awakened humans felt the power, their fear replaced by courage, their doubt replaced by certainty. Eli guided them with his thoughts, showing them how to control the energy, to harness it, to use it wisely. He could see the visions of alien worlds, of fleets preparing to attack, and he knew that humanity would face them, but now they were ready. No longer defenseless, no longer hidden. Humans were awake, and their power was unstoppable. The Varuan leader fell to its knees, muttering, "Impossible, they cannot, they are too strong." Eli ignored the alien, focusing on the humans around him. He could feel their hearts, their spirits, their souls united with his own. The power was no longer just his. It was shared, multiplied, unstoppable. He reached into the energy of the chamber, and the golden light spread outward, touching every human who had been awakened, reinforcing their marks, strengthening their resolve. Outside, distant galaxies could feel the surge, the humans' awakening echoing through space like a ripple in a pond, announcing that humanity had returned and was no longer weak. Eli felt a sense of pride mixed with responsibility. The ancient's power had been restored through him, but it was his will, his mind, and his humanity that guided it. He had to lead, to protect, to teach those who were awakened, and to ensure the power was used wisely. A woman among the humans stepped forward, her eyes bright with determination. "Eli, what do we do now?" she asked. He looked at her, then at the others, and said firmly, "We rebuild. We protect. We remind the galaxy that humans are alive, strong, and united. We will not hide, and we will not be forgotten again." The humans nodded, their marks pulsing, their energy vibrant and alive. Eli raised his hands once more, and a final surge of golden light filled the chamber, spreading outward, sealing their awakening. The Varuan could do nothing but watch, powerless, as humanity's force filled the ship, the galaxy, and space beyond. Eli felt the energy settle, calm yet powerful, ready to rise again if needed. He lowered his hands, his mark glowing steadily, and the humans around him exhaled, relieved and awed by the power they now shared. Eli spoke softly, yet his words carried through the minds of all awakened humans. "Remember who you are. Remember your past. Remember your strength. Humanity has returned, and nothing can stop us now." The whispers of the ancients echoed around the chamber, soft and melodic, carrying a single message. The awakening is complete, humanity lives, and its power will endure forever. Eli looked at the humans, their eyes shining with determination and hope. The golden light dimmed slightly, leaving a warm glow that filled the chamber with life. He smiled for the first time since his journey began. He was no longer just Eli Ward, a mechanic from Earth. He was the spark, the bridge between the ancients and the present. The humans around him were no longer ordinary. They were awakened, strong, united, and ready to reclaim their place in the universe. Outside the hidden chamber, the galaxy would never forget this moment. Humanity had awakened fully, its power, courage, and spirit restored. And Eli knew, in the deepest part of his heart, that nothing, not fear, not aliens, not time, would ever take that away. The galaxy had witnessed the return of humanity, and the story of humans, once hidden, had begun again, brighter, stronger, and more unstoppable than ever before.